So, where can you go to find an abundance of information, just about anything and everything regarding voiceover? You found it. This is the channel. Over 900 voiceover tutorials, information full of knowledge, information, shared experience, what you need to become profitable and helping you make money and make more money in voiceover. That's what this channel is all about. I'm Bill DeWeese, professional voiceover talent and voiceover career coach. And I've been working with talent for the past decade, helping them be the best performer, the best business person they can possibly be. Because in today's voiceover marketplace, yeah, you need to perform well, but you also have to be your own engineer and you have to be a business savvy person. It's not complicated. I'm not talking about complication. I'm talking about simplicity, but there are some certain things that you need to know. That's why we gather here every weekday morning for this morning voiceover huddle to share a thought, a strategy, a tip, some motivation, something to help you make more money today in voiceover. And we're going to do some Q&A here. So if you have a question for me this morning, Fridays are my Q&A day. So if there's something that's been on your mind, something you want an answer to, I can't promise I'll get to every single one of them, but I'll try to answer as many questions in the next few minutes as I possibly can. So just throw it up in the live stream. Let me know your name and where you're watching or listening from. And while you're doing that, let me remind you. And let me just ask you, how many, if you have signed up for my VoiceOver Accelerator live training event for this Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, starting at 8 o'clock Eastern time, it'll go about 90 minutes. If you've signed up, just say yes in the live stream. Let me know that you are signed up and ready to go. All right, good. Now, here's the thing. I limit these to 100 people. And the reason for that is because I want to make sure that I have the time to be able to interact and give feedback and answer questions. So to answer your question, Amanda, it is not full yet, but it is filling. So I'm going to limit the first 100 people, then we draw the line, and then it's done. And then if that's the case, that you would miss out, which I would hate for that to happen to you. But it's happening this Tuesday. And usually what happens, obviously, I mean, people have been filling it up, but there's a rush toward the end. That's just the way anything works. You know, when people are approaching that deadline, we'll see more and more people. So it'll when it happens, it'll happen pretty darn fast. So I want you in there. You need to be in there. In the description below, you will find a link to get all the information to get signed up. But I want to see you there for the live event. And if you miss it, it is recorded. So even if you can't be there, even though it is live, if you can't be live, the recording will be provided for you, which you'll have access to forever. So just go in the link below in the description and get signed up and ready to rock and roll. Okay, are you ready to do this? I am. I hope you've had a great week in voiceover. And by great week, I don't mean that you made a lot of money. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. But there's one thing that I've learned along the way. I don't know that I don't consider myself an ultra wise person. There are people who have a gift of wisdom. I think what I have is a gift of experience. And and what I can tell you is one thing that I've learned, and that is you have little control over outcomes. You know, I can say I want this, that, or the other. Just because I say it doesn't mean it's going to happen. I have no control over outcomes, but what we do have control over is the decisions and the behavior and the activities that we choose to do today. And if we exhibit the right behaviors, the right activities, if we do the right things today, we know that our likelihood of getting where we want to go increases exponentially. And it might even be better than we could imagine. Oftentimes, the things that I think that I want, not that I think, I mean, I do want, but where I've ended up, I'll be honest with you. You know, you go back a couple of decades, I could have never imagined this. This was beyond what I was thinking. And that's the exciting thing. When you're doing the right stuff, good things follow. And that you and I have control over. All right. Mark in Albuquerque, what's going on? Hey, Brittany in Tulsa. Steve in Bucyrus, Ohio. Now have my first professional commercial demo produced, and it's time to start looking for work. There you go. You know, Steve, congratulations. The demo, what I always tell my demo clients is that the demo doesn't guarantee you work. What it does, here's what it does. The demo provides you opportunities because you want people to, when they hear it, to think, oh, yeah, I like this. I like this gal. I like this guy. I like what I'm hearing. I think they could be good for this. So let me have them read. So you almost always have to still audition or read for something. Not always. Sometimes they'll hear it and say, "Hey, you're hired." That would be the exception, not the rule for me and for everybody. But what the demo does is when people listen, when they hear it, if it's a well-produced demo, it captures their attention and it opens up doors of opportunity. So, Steve, good for you. Congratulations on that. Amanda, good morning to you in Alabama. Hey, Craig, what's up in Wichita? Janet in Fleming Island, Florida. Hey, Ty in Warsaw, Indiana. Should you ever meet with a sound engineer again if you move or overhaul your space? Ty, I think it's a good idea if you're not 100% confident that your new space sounds as good as your old, or if you're not completely sure, it's a good idea to get a professional opinion on that because, as I know you know, being you're in my voiceover blueprint program, I know you've heard me say this probably hundreds of times, but the foundation, everything is built on good audio. If you don't have that part of it, and I'm talking about the technical quality of it, if that's not good, the performance, the marketing, everything else doesn't really matter all that much because it's got to be, it's got to be right. So, yeah, when in doubt, check it out with a pro, make sure it sounds good. Jason in Mobile, how you doing? Hey, Doug in Greensboro, North Carolina. Oh, Doug was able to get signed into the accelerator class. Awesome. See you on Tuesday, Doug. I need a bell in here. Ding, 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 ding. That's going to be exciting. Looking forward to getting my VO career charged up this year. Let me share you. There's a question about who made you great. Oh my gosh. It's funny as I look back over I can't like point to a person and say, well, this it was all because of this person. There are so many people in my life that have played a key role. Starting with my father. My father was not a voice actor. He was a glass factory worker who had a dream for his children. And I remember his greatest fear in life was that I would come back home and start working where he worked and then never leave because I would start making money because he had seen it happen so many times. People would go off to school or move away and then they would come back home like for a summer. They get a job at the factory and then because they were making some money, they never left. And he said he never wanted that to happen for me. And he was always encouraging me to think bigger than I was, which I am forever grateful. And then, and I tell you what really sparked this in me, and I'll share this, and then we'll move on to the next question. But back when I was working in radio, this is talking like the '90s. I had a morning partner. Her name was Beth Kay. She had worked at other Chicago area stations. I think Q102, Murphy in the Morning. This is going back a while. And then Pete Stacker, I believe it was, at the Mix, who's now, a huge voiceover guy, has been for decades. And she was recording voiceovers as well. And she would share stories with me about her experience there in Chicago and voiceover and the people she knew and what they were doing. And I remember it really sparked an interest in me. A little flame began to flicker. And because we were together every morning on the air working together. And I remember I so badly wanted to pursue voiceover at that point. But again, at that time it was a different business. You had to be, I would have had to driven into the city to get downtown Chicago from where I lived would have been a little less than an hour if traffic wasn't bad. So I would have to drive into the city to the agent to be able to do the auditions, just to do an audition. And then I'd have to be able to, drive back to do the job. So it's like a half day just to go in and do an audition. So as you can imagine, I had a career, I had 3 children and a wife, and which I still do. But I had to feed them and take care of them. It just wasn't practical. I mean, I couldn't wait tables in the evening and support my family. It was tough enough as it was. So I just buried that dream. But those are a couple of people, just a couple of many that have had an impact on me along the way. Hey, Maddie in New York, what's going on? Good morning, Remy in Tulsa, Scott in Dayton, David in Louisville. Hopefully your basement's right out there, David. I sure hope so. Good morning, Minnesota, Steve in Oshkosh, Carl Lynn in Lake Como, Italy. Ciao. How you doing today? Hope you're having a good Friday and a happy weekend to you as well. Jeremy in Austin. Hey, Tess. Tequila, Georgia. One of these days I'm going to get it. Decula, Georgia. Not Acula, Decula. Patrick, happy Friday to you in Maryland. Elias, good morning or evening to you in Finland. All right. I'm not sure. You may be our first Finland attendee here. I'm not sure. I think you may be, Elias, so congrats on that. Hey, Tom, how are you doing in South Florida? Well, it's my pleasure, and thanks for being here, Tom. I greatly appreciate it. Tom, another successful voiceover blueprint guy. Love it. Love it. Dory, what's up with you in Maryland? Do you think it's necessary to get certified on Source Connect as a voice talent? No, the short answer is no. I mean, I think it's good to know what you're doing with Source Connect, but frankly, I cannot imagine. I don't understand what the purpose, and maybe I don't get it. I don't understand what the purpose of certification is. It's a tiny little software program you turn on, and you make sure your audio is going into and out of. I don't know what else you need to understand. I mean, I'm sure there are a few technical things maybe that will be, but I've been using it for years. And I just fly by the seat of my pants, and I still do today. I mean, I don't know the inner workings of it. Don't feel like I need to. I'm sure it wouldn't hurt you in terms of getting you more work and such. Not that I'm aware of. If you learn otherwise, though, Dory, let me know because I'll be first in line. If it'll get me more work, I would be first in line. I just don't see it at this point, but I could be wrong. Hey, let's see. Mart in Warsaw, are your recording sessions always done live online with an engineer and director, or do you also produce your own time in the booth and submit the recording? Max, I would say, or Mart, I'm sorry, I would say 90%, 95% of my work is done just with me. A client, like for instance, I have a client contacted me yesterday. I'll be doing a project for Firestone, which is Firestone tires for automobiles. It won't be directed. They're just going to send it to me. I record it. I send it back. That's probably 95% of everything that I do. The other 5%, it is a directed session. I have not gone into a studio. Oh my word. Probably 5 or 6 years. I work here and using Source Connect or Zoom or Skype or Microsoft Meetings or whatever the client wants to use, or telephone, doesn't matter. I'll patch them into the studio and then they can direct me. So for me, it's the exception. I think it's pretty typical of most voiceover talent. Hey, Dewan in New York City, how are you doing? Let's see here. The stream again moved on me. When you guys fill it up, it just kind of zips past me. Susan in New Jersey. Hello there. Oh, we have Jakarta, Indonesia in the house. Carlin says that the DIY demo is done. The Fiverr gig is up. LinkedIn is up. One-page website is up. All this in a week. Now, Carlin, this is a great example of somebody just saying, I'm going to get it done. I'm going to do it, because until these things are done, nothing happens. So congratulations, and good for you for doing that. John in Dike, Texas. Oh, thank you. I appreciate the kind remarks, John. Good morning, Wesley says. Make edits in the booth or from the couch from my laptop. My booth is uncomfortable. Doesn't matter. I mean, if you're more comfortable on your couch, do it on your couch. I am set up to where I do everything right here where I sit. I don't use speaker monitors. I mean, I have them out there. Like if I'm producing a demo or something like that, I want to be able to hear that. But for my voice, you don't need monitors. So I just sit here with my headphones on, and I can control everything from in here. So the computer's out there, but I've got a keyboard and a mouse and a monitor in here so that it's as if I'm working out there. But for me, that's comfortable. If it's more comfortable for you to go and do it on a couch someplace, I mean, I know there's a lot of music producers who do a lot of their mixing and stuff. They do it on airplanes and cars, and everything's from the laptop. With good headphones, you can do that. So, man, it's a good time to be alive and doing voiceover. Let's see here. In Tennessee, looks like it's Ellie. How many jobs would you have to book to realistically make a living? And how often do you personally end up booking higher paying jobs? Let's kind of work backwards. We have to define higher paying. How do you define higher paying? You've been used to doing, $50 jobs, maybe a $100 job is higher paying. If you've been doing $200 jobs, $300. If you're doing $1,000 jobs, maybe $10,000 seems a lot. I would say the $1,000 jobs and up, and then the five-figure jobs. The five-figure jobs, that's every maybe several years. That doesn't happen on a regular basis. Um, typically, we're talking around the $400, $300 to $400 for most. If it's a smaller medium market commercial or explainer video or something to be used online, that would be typical. Sprinkled in with the five, $600, $700 job, and sometimes less jobs that are less too. But I would say $300, $400 is the sweet spot for most of what I do. Uh, Sprinkled in with stuff that's a lot more and less as well. I'm trying to give you the basic average. So what you have to do, you can do the math from there. So when we say make a living, what does that mean to you? What do you need to make a living? Or what do you want to make? Maybe there's what you need and what you want. And from there, you can do the math in terms of if you're averaging, let's say you're first getting started, maybe the goal is to average $100 to $150 a job. And then it becomes 200, 250, 3, 400, 500. I would say, to average more than $400 or so a job, and I'm just saying this because I've done this for 17 years, there's not as many of those jobs. Okay, so you almost have to think of it like a pyramid. As you work your way toward the top, there's fewer of those kind of jobs, so that's why they're harder to get, or it takes longer to get them. They're there and you get them. It's just most of what happens going to happen down here. There's a lot of explainer videos. There's a lot of e-learning, and you can make really good money doing that. I mean, I've made a fantastic living doing that. It's just you have to do it. You want to make sure you're doing volume, 3, 4, 5. Before COVID, I was doing upwards of 10 jobs a day, just to give you an idea. And when I say jobs, that includes pickups and stuff. So these weren't like 10, $300 or $400 jobs. Sometimes it was doing revisions and pickups. So just to put that in perspective, I was making $1,400 a day on average, to put that in perspective. And then when COVID came around, my clients' budgets, most of them, my bigger clients, were cut back pretty dramatically. And so it's been a process since COVID where rebuilding and waiting for those budgets to open back up again while I market and get new clients, which I'm doing. So it's like any business. You're always having to think about growing. But I hope that gives you an idea, Ellie, on how you would need to calculate what you would need. Hey, Theo, what's going on in Chicago? Short and sweet today. Yes. Hey, Steve. Okay, let's see here. Where did I leave off? Got Susan in New Jersey. I've had, let's see, been receiving several leads from Upwork after sending over my demos, but it's quite difficult to turn them into paying clients. Well, don't think of it as difficult. And let me tell you why. Think of it in terms of the numbers. It takes numbers to make something happen. All right. So, for instance, you may need to do 100 auditions to get a job, and you may perceive that to be difficult. Don't think of it as difficult. Just think of it as you're doing the math. And one way to also think of it, let's say it takes you 100 auditions to get a job. By the way, and if you're brand new, it's going to take you more than that. And then when you get more experience, it'll be less than that, but maybe not a lot less than that. So, okay, let's think of it this way. Let's say that your average job pays, let's just say $200, okay? And it takes you 100 auditions to get a job. What does that tell you? You're making $2 every time you do an audition. If you think of it that way, it will help you do the math. And then as you get better and more competitive in your auditions, then that number will grow. And then you'll know that every time you do an audition, you're essentially making then $3, $4, $5, maybe $10. It's an old sales technique so that you're not always just focused on the sale. You realize that it takes sales calls. Same thing in voiceover. It takes marketing. It takes auditioning. All of these things, it's part of the calculation of creating a voiceover business. Well, guys, I'm going to have to wrap up here. We've got, Rob, I just saw well, he's with Robbie Bob Evans and Kenwood. Robbie, I'm so sorry that your dad is subjecting you to this morning, but I hope you guys have a great breakfast. I hope you all have a great day. I appreciate you being here. Don't forget the Launch Accelerator coming up on Tuesday night. It will be live, although if you can't be there, that's fine. You'll still get the recording of it, but you have to sign up. It is in the link below. I hope to see you there. Have a great day and a wonderful weekend.